they have concepts like citizen juries, where they create in advance organizations that can create groups of people who otherwise would be unaware of what's going on, make them available to sort of participate and evaluate. And some of these concepts and ideas and techniques, I think, are certainly, we can be transferred to the regulatory process.
Over here.
Oh, sorry.
One of the barriers to public participation is the way in which the notices are written. They're very dense, and they're not accessible to the average American. And I'm wondering what's in our future for making the writing more accessible to the average American?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And by the way, my folks are all here, and so we're taking notes. There is something called the Plain Language Initiative, right? Fumi, one of our folks who is working on, there is a Plain Language Initiative. Well, maybe that's a help.
Which I want to point out that we've been doing since President Nixon. So we haven't really kind of we haven't really moved forward with that in general.
Right. So that's not a very good answer, huh? It's just the trouble with a sophisticated audience. So you're right. I mean, I just do think, how do you make this, technical rule stand out in people's minds? How do you communicate what it's about? That's a good idea.
What I saw on ACUS's webpage that you're proposing ideas about bringing scientific concepts to bear on the regulatory process,
Right.
talking about peer review, things like that. Have you also considered using not just things from hard science, but social science, like doing surveys or focus groups, and that would be a way of gathering, demographic, the demographics that you'd be interested in, or encouraging agencies to, say, in proposing a rule, to consider input that way. So.
Yes, those are very good suggestions. There is an experiment going on, I might take this moment to mention, at DOT with respect to finding public comments from sources other than the usual suspects, which are either people who are sort of paid to submit them or people who are on the inside. Cornell Law School has initiated this project where they actually go out and try and have chat rooms available. And these are rules that are of great interest to the public. Texting while driving commercial vehicles is one, for example. Things that everyone has a strong opinion about, which is one of the answers. Sometimes the rules, the public will be interested in rules just because they affect them. And so what this experiment is to kind of create an assessment of a public view by encouraging participation, then submitting that assessment into the rulemaking file, if you will, and it's coming along. It's pretty well far developed, and I think we will see more information about it. I just want to go the other way here. Here, just so you know, this idea that I mentioned, the Cornell idea, will be discussed at this forum on e-rulemaking, which is at the Brookings Institution. I think you have to sort of get invited, but you may be able to do that especially if you're particularly interested. Is that right, Scott?
It will be posted on Brookings' website about 2 weeks before the event, but if anybody can't wait, it is open to the public, and give me your card and we'll get you on the list, and look forward to having you there.
Hi, Dick.
Yeah. In terms of the interest in plain communications, Clay Shirky, many people may know him, sort of the guru of the digital era, has a great new book out called, I think it's called cognitive surplus, where he goes into how to use what has been developed digitally and is being developed digitally for a variety of things, including government, and how much has been learned in video gaming, for example, when people work together, and how you can capture groups of people for public purpose. And it is just a mind-blowing book. The guy's terrific. So I recommend giving everybody in Congress a copy of that.
Would you repeat the title again?
Cognitive Surplus by Clay Shirky, S-H-I-R-K-Y or K-E-Y.
Okay.
And he's fairly well known in the area.
Yes. Well, thank you. Let's see.
I had a very practical question. I visited the administrative conference back in the 80s for some project I was working on. They had a fantastic library. Did it survive, or where did it go?
That's actually, thank you for asking that question, because one of the things we are trying to do is recapture our library. You know, this is not exactly Alexandria, the great library in the ancient world, but it wasn't bad, and you're right. We had things, and here's two things have happened. One is, I must say, we're in the room of the archives. Once it goes to the archives, you don't get it back. So that's one problem. Everyone knows the. So we have to copy things. Except in the movie. Yeah, right. But the other place where we find is American University Law Library, which I think would welcome probably reducing their shelves a little bit, might give us some back. And then the greatest source is former conference members whose basements, it turns out, are full. Now, in my testimony to Congress, I had to mention some of these stories. One was from David Pritzker, who's now back with us. David had been at the conference. You may know him, and has gone to GSA. Oh, there he is. I'm sorry. I didn't see him. He himself. So he joined us, which I'm grateful for. Actually, he's the one that came up with the idea for the torch on our seal. But David said, look, I'm so happy the conference has been reconstituted because my wife wants her basement back. And I got all this stuff. And others have done the same thing. But I'm on anything that you have that you want to turn back to us. We do have a library, and you're welcome to come and use it.
Would your council have the ability to cause public participation in rulemaking to be taught in our high schools? Say, you know, a required week in senior civics.
I don't know. I mean, that sounds like a good idea, actually. You know, the civics movement is becoming much more active. Justice O'Connor is leading it. I don't know, and she has an dimension to it. Maybe I could talk to her about, because you're right. I mean, why shouldn't some way, Kyle, our communications director, is taking notes, but maybe there's a way to alert students about rules of interest to them. But there should be. This is just a good general thought. Yeah.
Hi, Bruce Lundgren with the SBA Office of Advocacy. Just following up on some of the comments people have made about the less sophisticated people participating in the process. Our office oversees the SBREFA, the Regulatory Flexibility Act, and the SBREFA panels. And the SBREFA panels require EPA and OSHA, and now the new Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, to hold small business panels before regulations. And we found these to be very effective in forcing agencies to consider the small businesses they're regulating and also listening to the small business impacts. So I wonder if you could comment on that.
Well, I could, but the expert on SBREFA is right over there, whom I know you'll recognize. Sean McGibbon, who is now our general counsel. We're so proud to have her. She yesterday was teaching us about SBREFA. How many people know what SBREFA is? This is an in-group. Wow, this is a pretty well tutored audience. So those are good thoughts. Yeah, I mean, both ways. I mean, I think we want to learn how to, as an agency, to do our job better by reaching out effectively. But more importantly, since we're an agency that's trying to teach other agencies what to do. We want to come up with some good practices that we can pass on, and it would be a good place to start with the Office of Advocacy, and since we have this contact, Sean, we can pursue it.
Have you considered creating a listserv that people from other agencies could, sign on to, or if you had?
This is a very good idea. We are in the midst of doing that, yes. We are, in fact, thinking those in government who want to have good ideas and want to share them ought to have a way to do that with our conference. So that's going to be part of our media. Kathy, anything you want to say about that? Should go on the website. Stay tuned for the conference, acus.gov website, which is coming along.
Hi, excuse me. One idea that I thought might be, I've never seen it utilized yet, is I know with a lot of older folks, poor people, so on like that, they complain they don't really have access to the internet, they don't have access to a lot of these things. And I never see on, there's so many different types of cable stations and such out there, local access. Is there any way of putting stuff like that out over television for those people that are more low tech and can access it that way?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, the people that we've run into in this area are very sophisticated and committed. Again, the America Speaks group, just think of what the trouble was in New Orleans when the diaspora, the people were sent out of the city after Katrina. They were in 21 different cities. You couldn't contact them, and they were trying to come up with a unified plan with respect to housing, as you remember, all these problems and other things. And somehow they found all of these folks, many of whom who were, obviously not in a position to participate actively. They got them together. So there are smart people with high technological IQs that we should borrow from. I mean, we are, as I like to think of us, as this public-private partnership, so we ought to be taking the wisdom out of the crowds and bringing it into the government. I haven't satisfied all of you. But this is wonderful, by the way. Let me just say that I wanted to make sure I introduced everybody. I introduced Sean. Sherlyn Peterson, who's my executive assistant, is here. Sherlyn. Kathy, you've met. Emily Stryker, who's here, is our attorney advisor. I met Fumi, and Reeve Bull is here. This was not required attendance, but I think they learned a lot. And Scott, I mentioned. I hope I haven't left. Did I leave? And David. So we are really in business. We're so excited, and I am personally, having this chance to lead this organization, having been a part of it, as you can see, so many years ago. That we need good ideas, new ideas. We will, if you come onto our website, we will take your ideas and we'll make something of them. Thank you.
Since it's our 75th birthday, we qualify as a senior citizen. So therefore, you have to indulge me for a few minutes with a few plugs. First of all, the archivist is interested in advancing civic education. And in fact, several months ago, we made overtures to the Sesame Workshop folks in New York, and they're interested in forming some type of future effort amongst a number of the children and middle school population to bring some of these issues to them. So I think this would be a natural for us to work together. It was originally our idea to try to go get Elmo and help him come in and explain rulemaking to us. And now the good thing was they knew who the Federal Register was, but they said they had a number of other commitments and weren't able to do that. But nevertheless, we haven't given up. The other thing I'd like to mention is the Federal Register has a Facebook page. We're also on Twitter, so I hope those of you who are not already our friends will go out after this meeting and become our friends. We're always looking for friends. So, And then the other thing I'd like to mention and
You
recognize.
have a song.
I wish. We will. I'd like to introduce Amy Bunk, who is our general